Stakes are high in this Group B matchup. Guatemala against Dominican Republic here in the 2021 Concacaf Beach Soccer Championship. Third place in this group will advance. Right now, Guatemala sits in third with 1 point. Dominican Republic in last with 0 points. Under blue skies in Alajuela, Costa Rica. Thinking through the possibilities of Group B, El Salvador is likely to run away with 9 points. In all likelihood, they defeat the Bahamas later on today. Upsets can happen, but El Salvador, just a powerhouse that does not lose in the group stage, simply put. So Guatemala with 1 point, Dominican Republic with 0 points. If this game goes to penalties, regardless of who wins, Guatemala will advance because of the goal differential over Dominican Republic. If Guatemala wins, in any capacity, of course, they're through. So Dominican Republic need to win in regulation or win in extra time to advance past Guatemala. The task is simple for the Guatemalans. Win or just get it to penalties, and they're through to the quarterfinals. Guatemala beat Bahamas in penalties in the first match of the group, and then they fell yesterday 7-1 against El Salvador. Dominican Republic lost 15-1 against El Salvador and then 10-2 against the Bahamas. First ever appearance in this tournament for Dominican Republic, and they have a chance in the last group match, despite the 2 matches they've previously played, outscored 25-3. Despite that, they have a chance to go on through to the knockout stage if they can win in regular time or in extra time. And don't be fooled by that 10-2 scoreline against the Bahamas. It was 3-2 going into the third period. The goalkeeper got hurt for Dominican Republic and missed the rest of the match, and they conceded 4 goals either on penalties or free kicks. So they stuck with Bahamas the whole way in that match. Do not at all write them off. Plenty of fight in them. Very well could have been in that one to the end yesterday without the success on the set pieces by Leslie St. Fleur and the Bahamas. St. Fleur converted 4 of them. You'll see him in action next against El Salvador. But a chance to go through to the knockout stage on the line. Guatemala and Dominican Republic. We know that third place in Group B and third place in Group C will advance because Belize took 0 points out of their group in Group A. Guatemala, Dominican Republic set to process out onto the field. I'll join you in a few moments after their national anthems are played.
Damas y caballeros, les pedimos por favor ponerse de pie para escuchar el himno nacional de la selección de Guatemala, seguido del himno nacional de la República Dominicana.
ready to go in Alajuela. Captains will meet for the coin toss. Wilson Gonzalez, the captain for Guatemala. Inoel Navarro for Dominican Republic in their navy blues today. Guatemala in their whites, the light blue diagonal stripe down the chest. Take a look at the starting lineup for Guatemala. Castro again in goal with Gonzalez, Perez, Crocker, and Alvarez in front of him for head coach Pablo Rodriguez. The leading scorer for the squad so far, Miguel Gonzalez. Dominican Republic, Miguel Rojas in goal. We saw him get hurt yesterday. He's back. Alfredo Baez, Miguel Moreta, Inoel Navarro, and Wander Medina. Luis Uberes, the head coach, trying to find them a way through to the knockout stage. Scenario is laid out. If Guatemala wins or forces penalties, they're through. Dominican Republic wins in regulation or in extra time, they advance. Groups B and C guaranteed to send the third place team through because Belize took 0 points from Group A. Here we are in Group B, Guatemala, Dominican Republic. So much on the line. First ever appearance in this tournament for Dominican Republic. Guatemala's best ever finish was in 2019, making the quarterfinals. They can duplicate that and try for better if they get a result here. Inoel Navarro set to chip it up to start things off. He scored their first ever goal. Medina, as it blocked off the kickoff. Medina hit the woodwork 3 times off of that initial kickoff yesterday against the Bahamas. Quickly to Medina, diving header. Shouts for a handball. Immediately a penalty for Dominican Republic. This could be the dream start they hoped for. Inoel Navarro takes the ball off the hand of Samuel Perez. Might have been going in at the near post. Rene Castro would have had a tough save to make. Inoel Navarro, an opportunity to put Dominican Republic on top. They did score first yesterday as well against the Bahamas. They lost 10-2, but they entered the third period in a close 3-2 match. Saw some more confidence out of this side yesterday. We'll see how much more they progress today, and they can progress with an opening goal just 17 seconds in. That puts them in the driver's seat against Guatemala. Inoel Navarro against Rene Castro. Navarro, saved by Castro! Teammates greet him. He's in some pain after making the stop. Navarro hesitated, drove it. Castro guesses right and makes the stop. In the end, Navarro could have done better. Too much down the middle. Rojas stays in off the elastic band. Taken by Crocker. Still 0-0, courtesy of the penalty stop by Rene Castro. Shot from distance, hops up, saved by Rojas. Big stop each in the first minute for the keepers. Dipping shot to quite the bounce off the sand. Backside, chance for Guatemala is stopped again by Rojas against Wilson Gonzalez. All the way back for Perez and now Castro. Gonzalez. Knotted down by Medina and knocked out. Headed away from Medina. Navarro pressures through. He's just over the line on the far side. Whistle stops the play. Samuel Perez to Wilson Gonzalez. In front, knocked away. Alfredo Baez. Perez regathers. Switches it to the left side. Crocker bikes it high. Sent back the other way after the toss from Rojas. Nearly 3 minutes into the first period, scoreless. Chances for both sides. Navarro had a penalty saved by Castro for Dominican Republic. Down the other way again for Navarro. Rojas searching for a ball. A trip to the quarterfinals on the line in this one. Calls for a foul from the Dominican Republic bench. Flores, Wilson Gonzalez, Miguel Gonzalez, and William Alvarez have a goal each for Guatemala. Just 4 total goals scored. Inuel Navarro, the only Dominican Republic player with a goal in the game against El Salvador. Opportunity to the backside is wide. Miguel Moreta had one of the 2 goals against the Bahamas. The other was an own goal. So Navarro and Moreta, the only 2 with a goal for Dominican Republic. We're playing down 2 players. Luis Del Rosario not dressing for this one. Neither is Eliezer Nieve. Haven't seen those 2 since the first match. Giveaway, stopped by Rojas. Slow start to the game for both teams. Medina has it tipped away by Alvarez and back again for Rojas. Long toss towards Navarro. Falling for Moreta. 2 goal scorers for Dominican Republic. Moreta knocked out for a corner. Medina sends it back unintentionally. Ball drifted away from him, as it does from Rojas. Out for a throw. Headed away from Moreta. Navarro to Moreta. Moreta's shot stopped by Castro. Good pressure from Baez on Miguel Gonzalez, who turns. Feeds it across, saved by a sliding Juan Flores. Chips it up, takes the shot, shouts for handball. Was it in the box or just outside the line? The handball was given. It was inside the box. Dominican Republic missed a penalty 17 seconds in, and now Guatemala has a chance on a penalty kick. 2 penalties in the first half of the first period. Dominican Republic had theirs saved. Is it a different result for Guatemala to take the 1-0 lead? Angel Sáenz to take. Miguel Rojas Looking to duplicate what Rene Castro did on the other end and make the stop. Angel Sáenz to give Guatemala the 1-0 lead. He scores! 1-0 Guatemala. Sáenz, first goal of the tournament. With power, Rojas got a slight touch to it, it appeared. But not enough to keep it out. Medina dangerous on these kickoffs. As I mentioned earlier, hit the post 3 times yesterday. If Navarro does indeed chip it up to Medina, he does, but he sends it high and wide. Chip back, giveaway by Navarro. Nearly gifted a goal to Guatemala. A bicycle sent wide by Christopher Gonzalez. Two on one. Over for Gonzalez. Guatemala pressing now after that first goal. Gonzalez stumbling. Wins the throw. In front, Rojas secures it. Falling was Flores. Moreta chips it up for his own volley, blocked by Sáenz, the goal scorer on the penalty for Guatemala. For Flores, but Rojas is quick to it. Nearly 8 minutes gone in the first period. Slapped down by Castro. Quickly the other way. A chance for Guatemala. Sáenz sends it over the protective netting. Baez was sending it down and be hoping to find the head of Emiliano Santana. Not quite the pace we saw in the previous game, Mexico-Panama. Both of these teams more judicious in the attack. Perhaps tense as well, knowing what's on the line. Panama and Mexico were both going through, so not as much pressure to get a result. Here, Dominican Republic needs a win in regulation or extra time to get through. Guatemala needs a result, or they need to force penalties, and they will go through. One of these teams will be done after today. Tomorrow, the off day for the tournament, with the quarterfinals taking place on Friday here in Alajuela. Joe Malfa with you for the 2021 Concacaf Beach Soccer Championship. Toss from Castro. Back and forth they go again. Sent in to Rojas, rebound, save again by Rojas. Again, just not much of a build from either team, just a ball sent down that forces Rojas into action, and he makes the stops. He doesn't need the trainer's help. Just hit in an awkward spot. Rojas still in some pain, but shaking it off in goal. Drop ball at midfield. Long toss. Very choppy first period. Team just giving possession back and forth. A lot of long tosses and crosses up towards Navarro for Dominican Republic. Here's another back the other way. This one forces Rojas into a stop, though, to earn a corner at least. He's hobbling again. William Alvarez takes the corner. Drives it in. He'll do it again. This time a delivery to the left side. All the way back to Crocker. Alvarez battling for it. Foul call in the end goes against Alvarez. Free kick from distance. Bounced in. Castro gets down on it. Stays true. Rolls along the sand. No odd hops. Chipped forward to Moreta. Taken away by Perez. Bodies pile, and the foul goes against Dominican Republic. Not sure who it was called on in the end. All the bodies getting tangled. Free kick from midfield for Guatemala. 48 seconds to go in the period. Their first goal came on a penalty. Now Pablo Crocker sets up the free kick. Sets the ball up. Miguel Rojas fixes the sleeves. Set to face the free kick from Pablo Crocker. A chance to go up 2-0 at the end of the first period. Crocker saved by Rojas. Another look at the free kick. Stop off the fingertips by Rojas. Corner taken backside, headed away by Rwandi Garabitos. 20 seconds left. Shot in! Guatemala 2-0. Ball just headed back to Crocker. First time volley. Catches Rojas by surprise and gives Guatemala the 2-goal lead. Flick to the backside, well struck. Rojas frozen. Nothing he could do about it as it comes across. Guatemala in control, 2-0, as the first period dwindles away. Chipped up, shot taken from Moreta. Calls for deflection, but it cleanly went out. 10 seconds remaining. See if there's any more chances here. Launched forward, nobody making any sort of run for Guatemala. The horn will sound on the first period. Guatemala 2, Dominican Republic none. Back in a moment with highlights. Dominican Republic had a chance to start quickly. Handball gave them a penalty. Navarro took it. Rene Castro saved it. Miguel Rojas came up with a couple of saves early on as well for Dominican Republic. But Guatemala was able to earn a penalty of their own, and they would not meet the same fate as Dominican Republic. They would convert theirs. Angel Sáenz earned it, took the penalty, and converted it. Rene Castro, a couple of big stops as well for Guatemala. Here's the penalty that made it 1-0 Guatemala. A first period that was pretty choppy back and forth. Neither team settling into any real rhythm. There's a lot of long tosses and the ball sent out of bounds fairly often. Neither team settling into any sort of attack. It went from goalkeeper to goalkeeper quite frequently. Rojas came up with a couple more big saves to keep it 1-0. But then in the end, after a free kick, set up a corner. The corner was deflected out to Pablo Crocker. And his first-time volley froze Miguel Rojas to the top corner. Here was the free kick from Crocker, and then it skimmed back to him on the next corner, and he puts it away. 2-0 Guatemala at the end of the first period.
Jugador número 4, Ángel Sáenz. Jugador número 9, la selección de Guatemala, Miguel González.
Second period begins. Guatemala kicks off. Chance to go up 3-0. It's blocked at the doorstep by Medina. Navarro sends it wide. Opportunity is blocked the other way. Quick start, 2 shots, both sides blocked. Alfredo Baez to take the corner, puts it across, chested back to Castro. And he had to hop to it quickly. Just a little bit off target. Correction, that is Oscar Sagastume, who has made his first trip into the match for Guatemala. In goal the other way, 3-0 for Guatemala. Juan Flores, second goal of the tournament. Timed it perfectly as he's sliding away. Past the outstretched hand of Miguel Rivera, who has checked in on the other end for Dominican Republic. Slipping away from Dominican Republic now. The upstart side in their first ever Concacaf Beach Soccer Tournament. Medina takes a deflection out for a corner. Dominican Republic needed to win in regulation or extra time today. Long road back now, down 3-0. They'll have to respond quickly. Baez headed away on the corner. Long run. Gonzalez, 3-on-0. Gonzalez touches it to the corner. Dominican Republic gets back off the post. Taken away. Edwin Lopez looked to goal. Guatemala a -6 goal difference in their first 2 games. A penalty kick win, and then a loss 7-1 against El Salvador. 3 goals to the good against Dominican Republic here early in the second period. Lopez shoots it, it's blocked. And that's sent out. For all the talk, of course, about which team could go through in the scenario of Guatemala just needing a result or to force penalties and Dominican Republic needing a win in regulation or extra time, there is also a scenario in which Guatemala not only gets through but finishes second in the group. If they win in regulation and get all 3 points, they would go to 4. Bahamas are sitting at 3, and they play El Salvador next. Now, of course, anything can happen. Bahamas have a lot of talent, led by Leslie St. Fleur, one of the all-time leading scorers in this tournament's history. But conventional wisdom says El Salvador wins that one. Medina's shot saved by Sagastume. And in that case, El Salvador beating Bahamas, it would allow Guatemala to come in second in Group B and send Bahamas down to 3rd place. And now Guatemala is cruising. Miguel Gonzalez, the quick turn and the goal to make it 4-0. He had 4 in 2019. He's got 2 now in 2021. Difficult goal to score, made it look easy. Pivots with the right foot, whips the left leg around, finds the corner. So Guatemala now well on their way to possibly coming in second in the group, unless the Bahamas are able to upset El Salvador, a team that simply does not lose in the group stage, El Salvador. So if all goes to form, now it'll be Guatemala who comes in second. That'll be officially determined, of course, in the next match when El Salvador takes on Bahamas. That one kicking off at 3 p.m. Moretta trying to get one back for Dominican Republic. Navarro with him. The Group B runners-up will face the winners of Group C. United States and Costa Rica will play later to determine the Group C winner. So as it's looking, Guatemala will face either the United States or Costa Rica, the winner of that match later today in the quarterfinal. Guatemala faced Panama in the quarterfinal back in 2019. It was their first ever trip to the knockout stage, and they lost 6-4. Moretta puts it just wide. It did take a touch. Sent in, deflected off the keeper. Navarro over on the elastic band. Possession goes to Guatemala, 4 minutes into the period.
En ese momento estamos presenciando el segundo tercio entre la selección de Guatemala y su similar de República Dominicana, Concacaf Beach Soccer 2021.
Long toss. Flicked out for a corner. Opportunity for Crocker. Mistimes it. Navarro was all alone. He tried to lay it back off. If he turned, he was one-on-one with the keeper. Don't know if he thought there was a defender with him. Emilio Santana put the charge into it, but was harmlessly wide. Saw the whole way by Sagastume. Crocker touches it to the right side for a shot. That goes high by Bachez.
6 minutos, 44 segundos, marcador, Guatemala 4, República Dominicana 0.
Throw into the middle, Moretta can't get there. It's headed away. Clock stops for the injury. Diving header away from Bachez, and incidental contact then with the side of Moretta. Down in some pain, trainers out to tend to him.
República Dominicana 0, 6 minutos con 31 segundos. Y eso que es la Concacaf Soccer 2021. 11 selecciones buscando el boleto al ansiado Mundial de Rusia. Recordar también que brevemente tendremos a El Salvador contra selección de Bahamas.
Bachez up and walking off on his own power. Garabitos to take the corner. We're ready to go again. Blocked out by Gonzalez. Halfway through the second period, Guatemala has doubled its lead from 2-0 to 4-0 in the first 6 minutes of this period. Christopher Gonzalez creating some space down the left side. In the middle, popped up and in. 5-0 Guatemala. Crocker popped it up to himself and put it in on the volley. Exactly halfway through the second period. Now 5-0 Guatemala. You could start moving them into the next round at this stage. Moretta off the kickoff gives it away. Guatemala all-time in this tournament. 7 wins in regulation, 2 wins in penalties, 10 losses. Just under a 50% win percentage. They finished in 6th, 5th, and 6th in 11, 13, and 15, those 3 tournaments in a row. And made the quarters in 2019, the furthest they've ever advanced. They're heading back to the quarters once more. Will they advance any further? The way it looks, they'll face either the United States or Costa Rica in the next round. Costa Rica and the United States playing later today to determine the Group C winner. The winner of that match is who Guatemala will face. Everyone vying for a spot in the semifinals. That's the round where you can punch a ticket to the World Cup. If you're left standing at the end of the semis and competing on Sunday in the championship game, those 2 teams are the ones that punch tickets to the World Cup. 5 teams are already into the World Cup in the field of 16 teams. Japan, Oman, UAE, and Tahiti were all appointed by their local federations based on a ranking point system. Qualifications for those federations were canceled due to COVID. Russia, the other team in there, qualifying as the host. So the winner of these 2 tickets in Concacaf will be the first two teams that actually qualify on their merits for the World Cup. The rest of the qualifying tournaments throughout the other federations set to take place over the next 6 to 8 weeks. Sure, we'll see a lot of the usual suspects coming out of their respective regions. 5-time champion Brazil, 2-time champs and the reigning champs Portugal out of Europe. Mexico looking to make it back again out of the Concacaf region. They've made 3 consecutive World Cups. In the middle, a chance for a 6th, and it's saved by Rivera. Off the header from Crocker, it fell right into the path of Lopez for the volley. 3 to go in the second period. Another look at that last chance with a save made by Rivera. For Dominican Republic, a lot to be proud of in this tournament. They were done no favors by having to play El Salvador, the giants of the region, in their first ever game in this competition. They followed that up with a hard-fought loss against the Bahamas. Don't let the 10-2 scoreline fool you in the end. It was 3-2 going into the third, and just a string of bad luck for Dominican Republic in that period. They conceded 2 penalty kicks and 4 free kicks. And at that point, down 7-2, it seemed like their spirits were taken out of it. They conceded the last 3. A nation making their first appearance in this tournament. Signs pointing up for Dominican Republic. Soccer as a whole, overall, not just beach soccer. Just a couple weeks ago, they made their first ever appearance in the Concacaf Futsal Championship, and they made the knockout stage of that tournament and battled to the end of their quarterfinal matchup, narrowly missing an appearance in the World Cup. It would have been quite the story for Dominican Republic in their first Concacaf Futsal Championship to punch a ticket to the World Cup. Narrowly missed it. Not quite the same success here in the beach soccer tournament. But for a nation making its first appearance, plenty of room for improvement as things go along. The whistle is against Guatemala here. Wasn't sure which way the ref was going with it, but he's trotting out towards the edge of the penalty area. A chance for Dominican Republic to get one back and put a little bit of pressure on Guatemala going into the third. This will be their second penalty kick attempt of the day. The first was saved by Rene Castro. Now it's Oscar Sagastume in goal. Wander Medina positions the penalty. Wander Medina, a chance to put Dominican Republic on the board. It's saved again. 2 penalties today, 2 saves. The first for Rene Castro, that one for Oscar Sagastume. Guessed the wrong way, dove to the post. Medina went down the middle, but able to drag that foot and make the stop. Oscar Sagastume. Medina battling with it again. Still a goose egg on the board for Dominican Republic. Good showing by the goalkeepers, both of them for Guatemala. We'll see which one we see in the third period, and this one makes it 6 from number 6, Wilson Gonzalez. On the throw out from the keeper, Well-timed, well-struck volley. Hops up off the sand, over the hand of Miguel Rivera. Second of the tournament for Wilson Gonzalez. Juan Flores started the scoring, and it didn't stop there. Off the post from Gonzalez. Cyans put it forward. Miguel Gonzalez with the finish. A tough one at that. Had to pivot around, whip the left foot around, and pick out the corner. Not a ton of chances for Dominican Republic. They would have a penalty. Crocker got his second of the day. Now the bicycle kick. Oscar Sagastume would stop a penalty to keep a 0 on the board for Dominican Republic. Miguel Rivera made a couple of saves for Dominican Republic as well in the period to keep the deficit at the time at 5-0. Those things. Upset can happen any given day. But from what we've seen in this tournament, very likely that El Salvador will cruise to a victory. A team that simply doesn't lose in the group stage of this tournament. They're 2-0 already. They won 15-1 and 7-1 against Dominican Republic and Guatemala. Can't count out Bahamas entirely, led by Leslie St. Fleur. But all signs, of course, pointing to an El Salvador victory, which would mean Guatemala finishes as the runners-up in this group as opposed to third place. And again, such a vital distinction based on the matchup in the quarterfinal. Not going to be easy at all against either the United States or the host nation, Costa Rica. But I would probably rather face one of those two than the reigning champions, the four-time champions, Mexico. You're going to have to face a lot of good teams on the road to a trophy anyway. Maybe the order in which you face them doesn't matter. But for Guatemala, a team trying to improve upon their quarterfinal finish, which is their best ever in 2019. A bit more favorable of a matchup against either Costa Rica or the United States than it would be against Mexico. Really strong defensive performance from Guatemala today, including 2 penalty saves, 1 for each goalkeeper. Rene Castro had the first. Oscar Sagastume, who's still in there for Guatemala, had the other. Taken away. Opportunity for Gonzalez, but he can't corral it. Looks down at the sand. Perhaps took an odd skip away from him on that last bounce. Sáenz on the wing. Chips it in. Flores running to it. Rivera makes the grab. Takeaway from Baez. Nobody comes across for it. A chance for Flores, cut out by Medina. Captain Navarro with it. Has one of the 2 goals scored by Dominican Republic players in this tournament. Nearly another great flying save from Sagastume. That one much easier. Opportunity stopped by Rivera, and now he gathers. Foul goes against Guatemala. Take another look at it. Navarro goes down. Navarro sets up his area. He's had a free kick stop today. He's had a penalty kick stop today. Can he get Dominican Republic on the board? Navarro against Sagastume, and it's stopped again. Sent in the other way, header to the post, it's off the post, rebound, Rivera out to it, still alive, makes the stop. At least it looked like he did. In the end, just wide. Moretta. Stopped by Sagastume. No troubles. Quickly the other way. Chance for Alvarez. 7 for Guatemala. Leaving no doubt against Dominican Republic. Well taken strike. Rivera made the attempt, but could not make the stop. Clouds rolling in, chance of rain. We hope it stays away. Another chance for Alvarez. This one not as well taken as his last. Long toss the other way, knotted down. Scramble in front, Marte looking for it. Another chance down the wing for Alvarez. Looking to cut it back. Back heels it. Crocker looking for a hat trick. It's over. Excuse me, that was Edwin Lopez. Medina takes a free kick from distance, strikes it over everything. Wind picking up a bit in Alajuela. Navarro puts it wide. Chested down towards Crocker. 3 to play in the third. Crocker retrieves it. Has a man in front. Unable to flick it there. Another penalty given to Dominican Republic. It's their third of the day. The first 2 were saved. No road back now, down 8-0 with 2:48 to play. But a chance to salvage a positive. Inoel Navarro, one of their 2 goal scorers in the tournament. Looking to add a second. Sagastume has already saved 1 penalty and came back in the second period against Wander Medina. Navarro had his penalty 17 seconds into the game, stopped by Rene Castro. You wonder how differently this game might have gone if Dominican Republic had that early confidence boost and were staked to a 1-0 lead that early on in the match. Inoel Navarro, a chance to get 1 on the board. He does. His second of the tournament. 8-1. The captain gets Dominican Republic on the board. They've scored in all 3 of their matches now. And he has 2 of them, Inoel Navarro. Chipped up on the kickoff, volley struck well, and right away Guatemala gets an 8-goal lead back again. Now 9-1. Leandro Baches off the kickoff. Doesn't get much better than that in terms of a response to a concession of a goal. Through the 3 bodies looking to block it, and picked out the bottom corner. Medina sends it wide. 2:43 to go. They retake the kickoff. Chipped up. Navarro nods it down. Taken by Crocker. 1v1. Crocker goes across instead. Thought he was just going to send it to goal. Looking for a hat trick on the day, but unselfish play from Crocker. Flicked on by Navarro off the post. He regathers himself, but it's saved by Sagastume. Navarro fighting till the end, the captain. Foul goes against Gonzalez. There's the chance from Navarro. The header off the post, and he whipped back around, and it was blocked.
Se prepara Alfredo Báez, número 8 para la selección de República Dominicana.
Free kick for Baez. Passes it forward. Medina the shot. Shot from distance is saved by Rivera. 90 seconds to go. Toss the other way, Navarro. Crocker takes it. With this result, again, just a reminder, Guatemala likely to be the group runners-up, looking for a 10th. Moretta battles for it. Barring an upset by the Bahamas against El Salvador. Oh, off the sand and in. 10-1 Guatemala, winning it in style. Edwin Lopez, the finish. The exclamation point of the day. And barring an upset of the Bahamas by El Salvador, Guatemala will finish as the runners-up in the group. El Salvador, the heavy favorites, of course, against the Bahamas. So dominant in this tournament. They've made the semifinals or better. All 7 appearances they've made at El Salvador. They don't lose in the group stage. So unless Bahamas pulls off the massive upset, Guatemala will be in second place, the runners-up of Group B, facing the winner of Group C, either United States or Costa Rica. That to be determined later today. Dominican Republic entered this match with a chance to advance on their own, but they needed a win in regulation or extra time. Far from it. Masterclass from Guatemala. Such a strong defensive showing. They conceded 3 penalty kicks. 2 of them were stopped. 1 of them converted late in the third by Navarro. And now just 9 seconds before it's made official. Guatemala going through to the next round. Their second ever quarterfinal appearance, hoping to build upon that and get even further this time into the semis and beyond. Dominican Republic, their first ever appearance at the Concacaf Beach Soccer Championship will come to an end at the group stage. Now Guatemala will sit back and watch the next match to determine whether they are in second or third. As I mentioned, all signs point to second. El Salvador against the Bahamas. El Salvador ran through the group stage with 9 points last time around with a plus 17 goal difference. That shot from distance is wide. And so far, El Salvador this time around, 22-2, they're outscoring opponents. That match coming up in just a few moments. Guatemala 10, Dominican Republic 1. Guatemala through to the knockout stage. They just wait and see now whether it's as the second place or third place team in Group B. Highlights coming up in a moment. The next game to start at 3 p.m. Coverage starts at 2:50. Stick with us. All-around dominant performance from Guatemala, and they continued that in the third period. They end up winning it by a final scoreline of 10-1. Their goals came fast and furious during the third period. Sagastume had to make a couple of stops in net. They would concede on a penalty. Pablo Crocker, very lively from Edwin Lopez. Shipped it up to himself, knocked it off the sand and in over the outstretched arm of Miguel Rivera. 10-1 the final for Guatemala. As I mentioned, next game at 3 p.m. Coverage begins at 2:50. El Salvador and the Bahamas to determine the final seeding of Group B. Stick with us throughout the day here at the 2021 Concacaf Beach Soccer Championship for plenty of great action.